Welcome to the Castro Valley Compass, navigating your week through Castro Valley. Brought to you by the Castro Valley School of Music. We bring music to life. For information about private and group music lessons, call 510-397-0721 or visit us at cvsom.com. And now, here's your host of the Castro Valley Compass, Shane Sharkey.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Castro Valley Compass. This week we'll be talking about mobile home parks in Castro Valley and how they relate to Proposition 33. Also, we'll be touching base on the current recall of DA Pamela Price and which prominent Democrat is now behind that cause. We also have a good news story of the week. Over 950 volunteers recently were gathered to help out the local community here in Castro Valley. And do not tell me that Rudy's is closing. A local favorite here in Castro Valley has some new news about the property that houses Rudy's Donuts. We'll also be looking at the community calendar, what's happening this week in Castro Valley. There's a lot going on this weekend. We'll have a spotlight interview with Paul Keim from Small Town Society, and we'll also have a retrospective on the history of Castro Valley. All of that and more coming up next on the Castro Valley Compass.
Attention, Castro Valley. Do you love storytelling? Are you passionate about our community? The Castro Valley Compass is a local podcast that shines a light on everything Castro Valley, from neighborhood news to stories that matter to you. And we need your help. If you've ever wanted to contribute as a writer, audio recorder, or even produce your own news packages, this is your chance to get involved. Whether you're an experienced journalist or just curious to learn, we welcome all levels of talent. Join us for an exciting meeting on Saturday, October 12th at 10 a.m. at the Castro Valley School of Music, located at 21060 Redwood Road, Suite 100. This is the perfect opportunity to make your voice heard and be part of a podcast that's all about Castro Valley. We'll see you there on October 12th at 10 a.m. at the Castro Valley School of Music.
Now back to more of the Castro Valley Compass, brought to you by the Castro Valley School of Music.
Hello, welcome back to the Castro Valley Compass. I'm your host, Shane Sharkey, and on today's news roundup, we'll be talking about a few things that are in the local paper, the Castro Valley Forum, also on the Facebook page, Castro Valley News. Those are my two go-to places for news here in Castro Valley. There's a few others, but this is what I would consider the most reliable and consistent news sources here in Castro Valley. And I love the old school feel of the newspaper, but also the the online new tech of Castro Valley News on Facebook. Robert does a great job of putting all the news together for us here, including, looks like there was an accident this morning here with a local garbage truck. That'll probably be old news by the time this airs. But anyway, to the news from the forum, we've got an article about the mobile home residents pushing against potential closures. There's a lot of talk right now about, affordable housing and even, any existing new housing here in Castro Valley. There's not a lot of room to build. And anyhow, the Prop 33 is coming down that has to do with rent control. And I think that kind of relates to this mobile home issue. I'd just like to read a little bit from the paper this morning. Mobile home residents in Castro Valley and elsewhere in Alameda County are continuing to push forward against potential closings of mobile home parks. But a draft ordinance to do that left the Castro Valley Municipal Advisory Council, the MAC, a bit puzzled at its September 23rd meeting. That puzzlement was helped by a long-awaited draft of a mobile home conversion ordinance from the county planning department only a few days before the meeting. Let's see, quote, "They had to read it first and digest it before even starting to ask questions about it, just like we did," said Tara Clancy, an Avalon Mobile Home Park resident in Castro Valley Boulevard. "We're hoping to get it considered by the Alameda County Board of Supervisors by the end of the year." Avalon's owner spoke out at the meeting against limitations on closing a park and turning it into some other use, saying it infringed on property rights. However, they said they had no intention of closing the park or getting out of the business. So I think there's more to the article. I would encourage you to read it, but it just kind of comes down to the whole idea of affordable housing in Castro Valley and really the whole Bay Area. And then how do we address this issue? Prop 33 has, it talks about expanding rent control, and the people that are for it are people that would like to have affordable housing, and the people that are against it are the people who are in charge of providing that housing. People like the Chamber of Commerce, the California Chamber of Commerce is behind it, or for it, I should say. Excuse me, it's kind of confusing the way it's written. If you are for it, you are for expanding rent control. So the California Chamber is actually against it because they want to keep rent control the way it is right now. And it's a real philosophical discussion about what increases the price of housing. And it comes back to the whole supply and demand. And in theory, if you raise the rent control, or how we can apply rent control, that will restrict the supply of housing, given that there's less housing in theory, because people who own buildings and apartment complexes will be able to make less money, therefore they will look elsewhere to invest, and there will be less housing available. It's a tricky situation, and I think it really depends on how you're looking at it, from the individual user's perspective of, I just want lower rent, to the whole so the ecosystem of the economic environment of how does supply and demand work, specifically when it comes to things like housing. I certainly don't have any clear answers on this, but I think it's an interesting discussion and a very important proposition to consider and to vote on, depending on what you think. Anyhow, that actually brings me to one of the next stories in here is about the recall of Pamela Price. Our local Congressman Eric Swalwell has joined the fight to recall Pamela Price. And the basic idea is that she's too soft on crime, that punishment is not strict or harsh enough for criminals, and that people are being let out too easily and they're committing more crimes, making us all less safe. Swalwell being a Democrat and Pamela Price being a Democrat, it seems like he would want her to stay, but I'm just going to read a little bit from this article here that discusses Swalwell's joining of the recall efforts. U.S. congressmen and several police unions have joined the list of people supporting a recall for Alameda County District Attorney Pamela Price. The issue could be decided in the November 5th general election. Last week, police unions in Alameda County all agreed to support a move to remove District Attorney Pamela Price from her position. They believe she hasn't done enough to prevent or to protect crime victims and ensure justice is served. Anyway, that kind of goes on to explain basically the reasons behind the recall efforts. And, Pamela Price is saying that she is really being targeted unfairly, and that she is, being fought. There's a national movement, she says, against DAs like her, and I think she might be right. For better or worse, there's definitely a difference in opinions on how we should be dealing with criminals and crime, and that recall effort, as well as the Proposition 36 is also on the ballot coming up. And Proposition 36 is interesting because it's basically undoing a law that was passed in 2014 called Proposition 47. The beauty of the state of California and propositions. In 2014, voters reduced penalties for drug crimes and turned some felonies into misdemeanors, depending on the things like the worth of the goods that are being stolen, that kind of thing. I think it's $900 or less turned into a misdemeanor, whereas before some of those thieves or some of the crimes were considered felonies. Anyway, the Proposition 36 that's on the ballot coming up here pretty soon has to do with overturning some of the details in Prop 47, basically making the law tougher on crime. So that kind of goes along with the recall of Pamela Price. If you're sick of the crime in California, then you would probably be inclined to vote for the recall and vote yes on Proposition 36. Definitely would encourage you to do your research and to educate yourself on which way you'd like to vote. You'll hear coming up in the community calendar that there's a drive-through voter registration coming up tomorrow, October 12th, in Hayward. So definitely want to make sure that you're registered, and tomorrow's a good way to do it conveniently if you like the drive-through thing. Now, turning to the Castro Valley News Facebook page, there's a recent post about Rudy's Donuts, going from crime in California to donuts in Castro Valley. Rudy's is a great place to get donuts. If you haven't gone there, I would definitely encourage you to do that. But there's been a lot of news in the past year or so about the building, and is Rudy's going to close down? We hope not. And there is a new for sale sign at the building there at Rudy's Donut House. But Gina at Rudy's told CVN, Castro Valley News, that Rudy's are not planning on closing anytime soon, and that the local dentist who purchased the building with the intent of relocating there has put the building on the market. So Rudy's has no immediate plans to close, so I would say go support them. Definitely give them your business and let them know that we value them here in Castro Valley and we want them to stay. So that's just one little bit of local news. I think especially this weekend, go out and get yourself a donut. Turning back to the Castro Valley Forum, there's an article about 950 volunteers gathering to help out on an inaugural Serve Day. That was September 29th. I'm going to read a little bit from this article here. In the spirit of giving back to the community, organizers with Three Crosses Church gathered 950 volunteers to tackle service projects, including visiting seniors' houses to clean up their yards and gardens. Representatives from more than 17 local organizations like Castro Valley High School, Hayward Area Hayward Rec and Park, HARD, and the Alameda County Sheriff's Office participated in the Serve Day event on September 29th. Again, that's the first inaugural Serve Day. Three Crosses Middle School Ministry Director Lauren Corbus said the idea for the inaugural Serve Day was to take church off the hill and hit the streets of Castro Valley, Hayward, San Leandro, and the surrounding unincorporated areas to serve the community. It's our first year doing this, so I'm so excited, Corbus told the forum. We want to take Jesus' invitation to love our neighbor and serve others seriously, and we hope this can positively impact the East Bay. So I would say definitely check out this article. It's really uplifting to see so many people come together to serve the community. And that's one of the things that we hope to do here on the Castro Valley Compass, is to bring the community together to make positive changes. So if you'd like to get involved with the Castro Valley Compass, we are holding a meeting tomorrow, we're in October now. Tomorrow, October 12th, it's a Saturday here at Castro Valley School of Music. We'll be gathering at 10 a.m. We've got some more information about that coming up later in the show, but if you'd like to get involved in the podcast, we'd love to have you come and join us at this meeting. The School of Music is at 21060 Redwood Road, right across from the BART station. We're at suite number 100. And again, tomorrow, Saturday, October 12th, we'll be gathering at 10 a.m. So if you'd like to get involved in the podcast on any level, we'd love to have you join us at the meeting and talk about how we can work together. So anyhow, that's going to do it for our news roundup for this week on the Castro Valley Compass. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment with the community calendar, as well as a spotlight interview with Small Town Society's Paul Keim. We'll be right back with more after this.
Looking to unlock your child's creativity? Or maybe you're an adult wanting to rekindle a love for music. At Castro Valley School of Music, we've got you covered. Studies show that learning an instrument boosts brain power, improves memory, and strengthens problem-solving skills. But the real magic happens when you play together. At Castro Valley School of Music, we offer lessons for all ages and skill levels, whether it's guitar, piano, violin, or something a little different. Our talented instructors will help you grow and have fun while doing it. And our group classes and ensembles, they teach teamwork, build friendships, and give students the joy of playing alongside others. It's where music becomes more than just notes. It becomes connection. Are you ready to start your musical journey? Call Castro Valley School of Music today at 510-397-0721 or visit us at cvsom.com. That number again is 510-397-0721, or you can visit us at cvsom.com. Let's make music together.
Now back to more of the Castro Valley Compass. Brought to you by the Castro Valley School of Music.
Welcome back to the Castro Valley Compass. I'm your host, Shane Sharkey, and we're going to get into the community calendar. All right, so what we talked about the last segment there was the propositions, and if you want to make sure that you're registered to vote, you've got an opportunity this Saturday, October 12th, for the drive-through voter registration. The local Democratic campaign will hold a drive-through voter registration drive on October 12th from noon to 4 p.m., and this is at the corner of B Street and 2nd in Hayward. The address is 1199 B Street. And the last day to register to vote is for the November election is October 21st. So this is a great chance to go ahead and do it this weekend on the 12th, a drive-through voter registration. Again, that's in Hayward on B Street at 2nd. 1199 B Street. That's from noon until 4. If you haven't registered yet, that's a great opportunity to go ahead and do that. We also have something coming up in October 12th, this Saturday. It's Oktoberfest over at the Faith Lutheran Church. That's going to be at 4:30 p.m. this Saturday, October 12th. You can head over there as soon as you're finished registering to vote. The address is 20080 Redwood Road here in Castro Valley. Oktoberfest returns to Faith Lutheran Church of Castro Valley, open to the public. They'll have wursts, sauerbraten, hot German potato salad, potato pancakes, strudel, beer, wine, spezi, I hope I said that right, and so much more. New this year are commemorative beer glasses and music by DJ Bob Tharp. Definitely want to check Bob Tharp out. Probably has some kicking beats. All right, tickets are available. Let's see how do you get tickets here? There's a link here, but I don't think I'm going to be able to tell you that. I'd say go ahead and check out the Faith Lutheran Church website, and that'll probably help you get tickets on there. This is going to be an interesting one. Coming up on Sunday, October 20th, Shannon Tomas is going to be joining us to do a presentation on re-envisioning medicine in Castro Valley. Shannon Tomas is a CEO of Eden Medical Center, and she'll speak on re-envisioning medicine in Castro Valley. Eden Medical Center is critical to the health and well-being of our community, and it's the largest employer in Castro Valley. Ms. Tomas will present her thoughts on how healthcare delivery might expand here. This is the third in a series of presentations sponsored by Castro Valley City Incorporated. The speakers will share their experiences in transforming cities for success in the future. The lectures are free and will be held at 2 p.m. at the Castro Valley Library. More information is available at castrovalleycity.com. There's actually a whole bunch of cool information there. I've gone to one of their presentations at the library, and there's a lot of cool things to consider about making Castro Valley into a city, and the medical part of it is just one of those aspects, including the fact that Eden Medical Center is such a big employer here. Let's see, there's a couple other things going on here in Castro Valley. Before we get to some live theatrical events, I did want to mention that The Wild Robot is at the Chabot Theater starting on Friday the 11th at 6 p.m. It'll also be playing on Saturday at 5:30, and then on Sunday again at 11:30 a.m., 2 p.m., and 4:30 p.m. That's The Wild Robot at the Chabot Theater here in Castro Valley. And a couple other things going on here soon that I'd like to let you know about are some live theatrical performances. One of them is at Chanticleer's Theater. If you haven't checked out Chanticleer's, it's definitely a hidden gem here in Castro Valley. About 10 years ago, I was actually in a play called Lost in Yonkers, where I did a little bit of acting, and that was it's fun. If you are a actor or would like to try that sort of thing, Chanticleer's is a great local venue for you to experiment with that and meet some really cool people doing it. What's coming up soon at Chanticleer's is a performance of Dracula. Let's see, Dracula runs from October 18th through November 3rd. So shows are going to be, let's see here, shows on Friday and Saturday are at 8 p.m. and on Sunday at 2 p.m. Again, that runs from October 18th to November 3rd. And they will be having a special Halloween performance on the night of Halloween at 7 p.m. So if you'd like to check out Dracula at a local theater, performance, live theatrical performance, you should check out Chanticleers. It's a great place to go see live theater. Also coming up is Alice in Wonderland musical. East Bay Children's Theater kicks off their 92nd season with the musical extravaganza Curious and Curiouser, the Alice in Wonderland musical. So this is going to be, they're going to present it on Saturday, October 12th. That's this Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Town Hall. This is in Lafayette. Let's see, Santa Clara. Let's see, where are we doing at the Village? Let's see, I should have looked at this a little more closely. I guess this maybe isn't in Castro Valley. Anyhow, if you'd like to check out the East Bay Children's Theater, that would definitely be worth checking out if you want to go see this show. It's www.ebctonline.org. And there's another cool exhibit coming up here, the Dia de los Muertos exhibition. Let's see, that's coming up. The works have over 25 artists and many students have been on display at the Hayward Area Historical Society Museum from October 3rd, so that's happening right now, through November 2nd. At the Hayward Public Library, October 8th through November 4th. So if you'd like to go check out some Dia de los Muertos art exhibits, you should definitely go check out the Hayward Public Library here until November 4th. And then one last thing on the community calendar here is they're looking for community feedback for the art over at the Ashland Art. Let's see here, at the Ashland Roots Center. The Hayward Area Recreation and Parks District is calling on community members to provide their input on the future artwork of the Ashland Roots Center, a new community center currently under construction on East 14th Street in Ashland. The proposed art will be displayed on the center's windows and will remain on the display for several years. The feedback will play a crucial role in helping the selection panel recommend one artist to the hard board of directors, who will make the final decision. To view the artwork proposals and submit feedback, go to the haywardrec.org and you'll see the Ashland Roots Center link there. All right, well, we are going to be coming back with a spotlight interview with a local personality, Paul Keim, who does a lot of great work over at the Small Town Society. Paul recently won an award for arts leadership, and definitely a great leader and a great artist, and have a wonderful conversation with Paul when we come back right here on the Castro Valley Compass. Stay tuned.
Attention, ghouls and goblins of Castro Valley. Are you ready for a frightfully fun time? Join us for an arts and crafts Halloween party on Friday, October 25th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Castro Valley School of Music. We'll be conjuring up spooky art and craft techniques, guided by your favorite art instructor. Perfect for all the little monsters and creative spirits. But that's not all. We've got games, Halloween karaoke, and a costume party that'll make you scream with delight. Dust off your broomsticks and don your most haunting costumes for an evening of eerie fun. This event is free and open to the public. No tricks, just treats. Come join us at 21060 Redwood Road, Suite 100 in Castro Valley. Mark your calendars, tell your friends, and get ready for a night of spooky creativity.
Now back to more of the Castro Valley Compass. Brought to you by the Castro Valley School of Music.
Hey, welcome back to the Castro Valley Compass. Shane Sharkey here, and we've got a spotlight interview with Paul Keim of the Small Town Society. Paul recently won an Arts Leadership Award, and he was honored here recently, and we had a time to sit down with Paul and have a conversation about what he in Small Town does and a little bit more about the award itself. So enjoy some bits of our conversation with Paul Keim. All right. Well, hey, Paul, thanks for coming in today. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
My pleasure, man. Seriously.
So cool to see you in the paper, being recognized for all the great work you've been doing.
Thanks, man.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what is this leadership award that you received?
Well, somebody nominated me for it. I felt very honored. The person, they asked me they were like, hey, can I interview you for this thing? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And we hung out in front of the clinic for a little while, and she was amazing. And I just totally forgot about it. And I got an email from her like a month ago. She was like, "Hey, look what you won."
Oh, that's cool. So
Yeah.
what was she from, an organization that?
Yeah, she's actually from First Press.
Oh, okay.
And she saw the thing and she was like, "Oh, I know who to nominate."
Oh,
so
okay.
and so I think both of us are just like, "Yeah, it's worth it." You know, she was like, "It's worth a try," and I was like, "Yeah, why not?" And here we are.
Huh, cool.
Yeah.
So did they actually give you the award already, or
No, actually, tomorrow morning.
tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow between 10:45 and 1. It's like
Nice.
it's like a cable appointment.
Right. Show up sometime between these 4
Yeah,
hours.
exactly. Yeah.
So where do you?
It's down in Oakland.
Oh, okay.
I guess the county building down there. I've never been, but
Nice.
Yeah.
Is there going to be like a ceremony that you?
yeah, like I'll give like a 1-minute speech, and there's like 6 of us, I think. How many districts? I should know this. How many districts are in the county? For each district in the county. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. That should be exciting. Well, maybe we'll maybe take a photo and we'll submit it with the podcast.
Oh, that'll be great. Yeah,
We'll put it right here.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. That was a beautiful photo.
Thank you. My hair looked amazing.
Yes, definitely. What an event that was. So maybe you can fill us in a little bit about what Small Town does. I mean, I've been, working with you or, friends with you for a while now, and I have a pretty good sense of it, but I'd love to hear from you the overview of what do you do over there at Small Town?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. I mean, we've morphed and changed and transitioned so many times. I mean, art has always been the focus. Music and art has always been the focus, probably because most of the people that gather there are artists and musicians, mostly musicians actually. But when I started back in what we are doing now, when I started back in 2016 with that space, which is now, we've moved Pampas into that space, was just to highlight the goodness that's going on in the community. Like we wanted to share the voices of artists and musicians, because I think if all else, I mean, that was right after the 2016 election. And so it was like, there was a lot of fear and a lot of worry and a lot of yada, yada. And I just felt that musicians and artists are kind of the canaries in the coal mines. They're expressing something, something that something that sort of goes over the social barrier of just talking. And I felt like at the time, we were using this term at the time, "come join the song," which was, I was maybe had 2 or 3 beers in me one night, and I was having a conversation with a buddy, and I was getting very heated, not at him, but heated at the reality that I feel like in our society, there's 2 people in the middle of the room yelling at each other, and we're sitting in a circle, and we feel like our only option is to choose a side. And it goes beyond partisan politics, I think, in general, and so I was like, I'm just going to kick my freaking chair off to the side, start playing guitar, and ask anybody who wants to come along, come join the song, And that sort of became sort of the wacky side of our vision of how do we just create conversation and dialogue across social barriers in order to create a better narrative for our communities and our societies that are not so labeled on what we're meant to be labeled on now. So we opened the space and we started highlighting dope organizations. We started bringing in local politicians to let people realize that it's easier to connect with them than you think. And so they would share, and then of course we'd always have a band. So some people would be so weirded out because they go to see their friend's band, and the whole first half was like a local agricultural organization doing local agriculture, and then it would be a mayor of a local city around here, and then their band, and those were the openers of that. But it worked out. It worked out really well. So we started doing those gatherings. We could just call them the gatherings. We called our space the space. We were like, no, I don't know. It's just it's easy. Let's just call it what it is. Right. And then we started doing workshops, and we'd open our space to people doing cool stuff. And if it was a nonprofit doing rad stuff, we would just give them the space, because at the time we had funding and all that kind of stuff. That's how it started. But our focus became more and more artist development as more and more artists showed up, and I realized the way in which the expectation on artists today, and musicians specifically, is very much you got to be a marketer, you got to be this, you got to be that, you got to do this. Oh, and also you got to write music and perform.
It'd be fantastic.
Yeah, so we were just especially the younger generation, how can we? One of our goals was to highlight the voices of our community. So how can we help them get their voices out there? And that was sort of a really big niche for us. And that sort of has carried on. And then the other thing that's carried on is how do we help foster an ecosystem both of equity and also an ecosystem of where creativity can thrive. And so that's kind of what we've been, have been our yes tos, if that makes sense. For our goal and our mission is to say, we'll say yes to things that help foster community and belonging and equity, specifically around creativity. And so that's why we had the space. That's why we developed the clinic, so that artists could have a place to develop. That's why we have relationships with the marketplace and the unfortunate loss of Lake Chabot Market. We had a great relationship with Hans over there, and just bringing in artists into the community while also helping to preserve places like the Chabot Theater, and then being on campus. Now we're on campus at Castro Valley High, helping develop artists there and work through the Wellness Center, which I think is the proper way to. It was not intentional, but I think it's such a dope way to enter in as an artist. This is wellness.
Absolutely.
So. Working with them now. So so we're just trying to help foster, specifically in the Eden area, but because most of our events and things are in Castro Valley, it's very Castro Valley focused.
Right. How do people get involved if they wanted to say, come check out one of your events or, support you in any way?
Right now, I think the main way is we realize, because we work with so many artists, that like if we do stuff on the weekends, we don't get a lot of the friends that we've been spending time with and investing in, because they're busy playing shows.
Sure.
So now our main thing is Wednesday nights.
Okay.
So Wednesday night, once a month, we have the lab, which the lab is, we highlight an artist, a local artist, and then the second half is local artists sharing work that they're working on. So it's not like an open mic. And in fact, it's an invite only, but it's very easy to get invited to it. But it really is a curated space, so that artists can be vulnerable enough, they feel safe enough to share not their polished best work, but the stuff they're like, hey, I just wrote this last week, or I'm working on this now if anybody's got any ideas. And it's 95% musicians, and then the other 5% is a few comedians and a few visual artists.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so that's the main way that we call it our hub now. But then every other Wednesday night, once a month, we're doing a secret screen at the Chabot where we're like just showing a music-focused movie, which can be anything from Buena Vista Social Club to Wayne's World. Like, it's
cool.
Very broad. Yeah. And then we talk about it and hang out at the Chabot. And so those are the two things. And then the other Wednesday nights right now are creative labs, which is people just come and hang out. And they end up working on their own stuff. We've had bands like sort of dominate the space. Various musicians that just want to jam together and end up writing something. In fact, our last lab, there's a young woman named Thalita, who's originally from Brazil but lives in the Bay now, her and her friend Tommy had this idea, and they ended up coming to a creative lab, and people just got onto various instruments. And then our last lab, they showed the finished version they'd been working on for 2 months.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's just been really a place to help foster creativity, and that's kind of our main hub right now.
Right.
So,
wow, that's really cool.
And so people can get involved and come kick it at the clinic or at the Chabot is a great way to, if they're not sure if they don't feel like they're ready to like share work, or if they feel like I don't have any work, I'm not that kind of an artist, they can come to our Chabot and kind of meet the crew that way.
Do they sign up beforehand, or can they just come out?
Yeah, they can come out the secret screen. Yeah, absolutely. We advertise in the forum, and we advertise on our social media and stuff like that. Yeah, they can just come out. Yeah. Okay.
And what about your website? Is it smalltown?
Yeah, smalltownsociety.com. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
It's under construction.
Okay.
I really wanted to put one of those like old school like clip arts of like the stick man like
digging the hole.
Nobody wanted to. And you can become a member now too. It's a new thing for us.
Oh, that's cool. So tell me about that. What does a membership entail?
Membership entails like you get access. So right now, if you want to be part of the secret screen, it's a private event. And so if you want to be part of that, like that gives you access to the secret screen. But you can show up at the secret screen and become a member either of the Chabot or Small Town through just showing up. Okay. So our membership, you get discounts at Pampas Cafe, you get discounts at the Chabot Theater as well. You get some free swag with your membership, and you have free access to all of our events and free to most of our events. So.
That's right. We were going to talk about somehow the School of Music getting involved in that too.
There's so much crossover between the two of us. I would love to do something. But.
Well, it's funny. It reminds me of sort of a common theme that I am reminded of every time that you and I get together, and it's this idea of the ripple effect that we have in our society, our community, even in our own minds, in our own homes. Yeah. How is there anything that you can point to out of all the people that you've come across in your sort of your journey at Small Town that you've been able to see people come through and then continue on, and you point at them and say, wow, that I feel like I've accomplished something helping that person in whatever way you did kind of filter through and hopefully carry on that ripple effect.
Yeah, there's numerous, it's been such a blessing to do the work. Like there's sometimes I don't even realize it, and then like 3 years later I'll run into somebody like they'll say things, like, oh, I got my start at small town.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But the one that I always point to, and it's because she's so dear to me, and her parents are like my best friends now, was Sophia Hernandez, who started from our original lab, which was an open mic back in 2017. Came in as an 11-year-old with a little ukulele. I was like, this is going to be absolutely adorable. And then 15 minutes later, the entire room is in tears. She's singing about, like, she had a song called Untouchables, like tying the plight of the Dalit in India in the class system. Those are the lower class. They're not even considered in the classes. It's a song about them, but she tied it into the reality that people face in our own society. And she was 11.
Wow.
Beautiful voice, cool songs, very, like poppy, but had a lot of just dynamic influences. So after that night, I was like, you can play her anytime, just like, and then over the last couple of years, we put her in the studio. She recorded an album, then I connected her with friends over at 25th Street Studio in Oakland. And then she got herself a producer, this guy named Ari, who's just been producing a lot of her work since. And in the midst of that, the lockdown happened, and then her dad, who's like my best friend now, Eric, flew to Pennsylvania to visit family. And it was the day that we had the orange skies. And so when he flew out there and it was green and, it didn't feel so much like a lockdown where he was at, and they came back and decided to move to Pennsylvania. So they moved in 2021, but we stayed tight. And since then, she's produced tons of, I think she's on her 20th single. She's recording a whole other album with BMG. So she got signed to BMG for a while. Yeah, so she's about to, I just did all the letters of recommendation, and I hope that she gets into Berklee School of Music because she's perfect for it. And that's one of the schools she's running after. But she's, running after NYU as well. But just to see her grow and progress and just become her own, but also she's so dope because, and I don't know, I wouldn't say that's probably her parents influenced her or anything, but she's not doing it the way that, the expectation. She doesn't live by the expectations of the music business. She's like, I'll use social media if I need to, but I'm not a social media person. Like she's just doing it the way she wants to do it. And I don't know, it's a weird thing to say. She's like a niece to me, so I can say it. Like, I'm super proud of her.
That's great.
She's 18, almost 18, and just killing it.
Just thinking about how many people she's going to influence and already has influenced with her music.
Yeah.
Not even just the music, but the courage it takes to get up there and, especially as an 11-year-old.
11 years old in front of a room full of adults, yeah.
It's almost, it's hard to describe exactly how powerful it is to see someone get up there and be vulnerable and make mistakes and continue on. It's like so inspiring on so many levels to think, wow, if she can do it, why can't I do it? And, I'm an old guy, and I've got experience, and then in theory, confidence and that sort of thing. I think, wow, that's amazing to watch. And it's kind of cool to see how somebody that young can have an impact on, no matter what age, a lot of other people.
Well, and it's interesting too, because I would say Sophia is a very rare person. Like she's very old soul. Like her, when I asked her at 11, who are your favorite bands? I think she's Beatles was for sure one of them. But she was like KRS-One. Like what? Like
okay, parental influence there probably. But
exactly. But
that's great.
But just so, but it's easy to say, okay, well that's just her then. But so many young people will look at even their peers and go, well, I'm not that person, so I'm not going to try. And it's like if we all just inspired each other to just try cool stuff.
Totally.
Nothing could be put in a box, and creativity, I think, would flourish in our communities if we just gave people the freedom to be who they need to be.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I see a lot with the performance aspect of music students here is, and I am the same way on some levels. Is I'm not ready, I'm not good enough. I don't, someday I'll be ready, and someday I'll be okay to do that and feel confident. It's like part of what makes you confident is going through that process of trying and. Failing is not the right word to use, although some people might think about it as a failure if they don't do a perfect job. But it's like that's part of the progression of getting better.
Yeah.
It's like,
man, that's one thing that it's one of our values that I don't focus on enough, celebrating failure, especially because I don't think we take it to heart. Okay, cool. We just played it the last lab because of what my buddy Kevin Seal did. He celebrated the 10-year anniversary of my album. And I hadn't played a song off the album in 10 years, so I was just like, I'm gonna get up there and play it. And it was just like, did not go well. In my mind, it did not go well. But it was like, it's not the point. Like, I don't need to sound great. Like, this is my family. Like, I played the song in 10 years, I played it. But there's also this tension of like the way in which we run the organization in small town, where it's like, we have to do it perfectly, we have to look professional, we have to do it. And it's just like, no, we've never done this before. And we have to admit to ourselves that we've never done this before. But it's important, the work we're doing. So like, let's just keep trying to do this the best way possible.
Right.
And I think that translates to doing everything in life. Is like, I see my kids now. One of my kids, my youngest, is getting into skateboarding. He gets so angry. I'm like, in my mind, I don't say this to him because it's such a condescending thing to say, but in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, you should totally be good at this already.
Yeah.
Like,
I do that. I have a drum student who gets so angry when he's not perfect. But the first time I have a piano student, she's the same way. And these are little kids, piano students. She's 6 years old. Yeah. She gets so frustrated and pounds on the keyboard. I'm like, listen, if this was easy, everybody would be doing it. You got to take pride in the fact that you're trying.
Yeah.
And that being imperfect or less than perfect is part of the journey. So,
man, when I was, I don't want to tangent too much, but when I was in bands in high school and right out of high school, I was in all these bands. I was writing songs, a lot of serious songs, and I was taking it so seriously. And then one day, one of our guitar players didn't show up, and so we just started jamming some like joke metal, and then we ended up creating this like whole story, this band called Fierce Nights, NIGHTS, like Dark Ages,
right?
And to this day, it was some of my favorite memories because we weren't taking ourselves seriously. We were writing the most ridiculous metal songs. We ended up like going crazy with it. We wrote a whole story about the album, and it makes me think of something William Dafoe. I was watching an interview recently where he said like sometimes he'll go into things and fail on purpose. And I'm like, that's like we're, especially with, maybe not especially with, but like social media doesn't help, I think, in this regard, is that we're trying to like give the world a polished version of ourselves. But it's like, man, how much more fun would life be and creating be if we just failed on purpose? Like, I'm gonna write a stupid song. I'm gonna write a song. I'm gonna purposely write a terrible song. I'm gonna purposely, like, you got to get that stuff out anyway. So might as well do it while you're not taking yourself seriously.
Yeah.
But
well, there's the whole Rick Rubin notion of like, if you're doing it with the results in mind, you're not doing it for the right reason. You got to do it because you want to do it. Just do it yourself and not be kind of caught up on what other people are going to take from the experience or how they're going to believe that you are or are not, in any regard. It's like that. Yeah. Putting it out there is really the first step of doing it. And that's honestly like part of what this podcast is about, and this music school, and like everything that we're trying to do here is like, hey, if it doesn't work the first time, let's collect ourselves, revamp, try it again.
Yeah. Well, and how much of the pressure that it will take the school, for instance, how much of the pressure is self-induced pressure because it should look a certain way?
Way too much.
Right. Or and not even you, or the people in the community who just constantly offer suggestions without offering help.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. That's always fun.
But like, oh, you're doing it wrong. You know, and then you feel that extra pressure, or whatever. But it feels like if we could just give ourselves a break and just create as a community, what would happen?
Yeah, I remember talking to somebody early on when I opened the school, and I was kind of lamenting about all the stuff I had to do and all the stress I was under, and he said something to me that totally stopped me in my tracks. He said very casually, well, at least you brought it all on yourself. And I thought, well, no, I didn't. I did. Like, man, everything that I'm stressing about right now is something that I have, self-induced. I put it in there. So why don't I give myself a break, lighten up a little bit? Let's loosen these expectations, and maybe a more realistic timeline might be helpful, or, all that type of stuff. Is I shouldn't be perfect the first time. Yeah. And that's easy to see with someone else, like a music student, and it's not as easy for me to see it in myself and say, oh, wow.
Yeah, the idea of like what it looks like to succeed too. Like, I don't think I've ever written that down. I was just watching an interview with Donald Glover, who again for the second time is retiring Childish Gambino. And I love what he said the first time when he came back to it. They're like, "Oh, I thought you were done." He's like, "No, I had to finish some side quests first," which I think is total Donald Glover. That's amazing.
Side quests.
Side quests. I love that. But then he retired again, and he's like, he said, "There's reasons for it," and he explained the reasons for it, but. Right after the interview, I was listening to somebody else talk about how so many people don't know when they've arrived because they've never written down their expectations of what it means to succeed. And I think that's what it is. Like you and I both can say we are running after our dreams, like in some way, shape, or form. Like we're able to be, moldable enough to go, okay, well, I'm going to run after this because here's an opportunity or whatever. It's not like just one thing.
Right.
But to run after our dreams can be extremely difficult if I don't know what it looks like to succeed.
To write down your goal.
Yeah, it's something that I'm working on now because it has not been an easy 8 years for me doing this work. But I think part of it is because I don't know when I've arrived.
Right. That's an interesting concept. I can't remember who, it's an old motivational speaker guy. Incredibly deep voice. I can hear it now, but I can't remember his name. But he talks about the definition of success. And I thought, okay, this is going to be good. Like, how will I know when I'm successful?
Yeah.
And his definition it's extremely eye-opening to me. He said a definition or success is the continued pursuit of a worthwhile goal.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And I thought, wow, then I'm successful.
Yeah.
And I got this weird sense of like, so I'm already there? Like, there is not a destination. It's like a frame of mind or something. It's like I'm continuing to pursue a worthwhile goal.
Yeah.
Therefore, I am successful today. So this is like, for me, it was like, okay, well, that's kind of relieving. Think about it, like I don't have to like, because I have this sort of, whether it's been instilled upon me by my dad or society or myself, it's like when I get to this certain place, whether that be financial or status or whatever, it's like then I can say, wow, look, I finally made it. And I think it's so much more comfortable to realize, you know what, I'm making it today. I'm going to make it again tomorrow. And it's like, it's not a destination, it is the journey. Yeah. So I like the way that kind of the success is being had today, right now. It's like, let me enjoy this journey. I was in a yoga class. I love doing yoga, and it's rare that I am, most of the time I'm moving and I'm not thinking, and I'm trying to just get into my body and that sort of thing. I was down in Santa Barbara a few months ago. My son was going to school down there, and I did this yoga class at a place, awesome studio called Yoga Soup. It's like a full-on bookstore. They got all kinds of cool stuff there. And the owner of the studio was teaching the class, and he said something so just bewildering to me. He said, without releasing the effort, stop trying. And I thought, what the heck does that mean? And so after the class, I went up to him and I said, what do you mean by that? Effort and trying, those are the same thing, aren't they? And we had this interesting conversation where he was talking about trying typically means you're trying to, with the goal in mind. I'm trying to do this. And if the effort is more about I'm enjoying the process, and this effort that I'm feeling is good enough right where it is right now. And so in my mind, I had to kind of wrestle with that distinction, but I think it was an important one. And at the end of it, we both decided, okay, so it's the journey, not the destination. Is that really what it comes down? He's like, yeah, I guess that's a simple way to put it. but it's still the nuance of the way he said that. I thought that's interesting to me from more than just a yoga perspective.
Yeah.
It was and it made me think about, am I trying on a daily basis? Am I trying to? And I am, I'm trying to get this done and get this done and this done. So I'd rather enjoy the effort for itself, for the sake of the effort itself, and not be so tied into that whole results kind of thing.
Yeah, the journey is the point. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think, wow, it's difficult for sure, because we're all, and at least I'm speaking for myself, I'm very tied to results and thinking, okay, the reason I'm doing this is so I can get that, or so I can accomplish this, or meet that person, or whatever. And to reframe that is helpful in some ways.
Yeah, and when you do that, when you live in that constant hustle too, the things that take up most of my energy are more tied to, I gotta get the taxes done, I gotta get all that stuff done, and there's all the stuff that I don't even want to do, as opposed to celebrating the little wins, and then those little wins become the things that I have to do in order for me to get back to doing the taxes.
Right, exactly, It's what's funny is the recognition, for me, it's been a struggle to say, okay, I just don't like that thing, and so I either have to, knuckle down and do it, or I've got to find somebody that
Try
is.
to hand it off.
And like there are people that like taxes and that sort of thing. It's weird. I don't know.
Let me know if you find someone who enjoys writing grants.
But there's somebody out there. I'm sure there's people out there that enjoy that sort of thing. But yeah, it's that journey, and part of what both of us are going through is this, being so active in the community and incorporating on what we're doing with other people and their journeys. It's just that's the fun and difficulties of running a business. I mean, the most rewarding parts are working with all the people, and the most difficult parts working with all the people. It's just like, gosh. But that's what makes life so interesting and wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come and talk with us today, Paul.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. I know we'll be working together here in the near future, and
I really hope so.
Definitely would encourage people to come and check you out at Small Town Society. And
Cool.
I know I'll be over there soon, and we'll look forward to unveiling the membership. I'd love to get that nailed down to where people that are members at Small Town actually get a discount on music lessons.
That'd be amazing.
Who knows? Maybe we can have some events here for you guys, and
that would be fun too. Yeah.
Cross-pollinate our efforts
I love
here.
it.
So cool.
100%.
All right. Well, thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
Appreciate
man.
it.
Appreciate you. Dude.
Definitely encourage you to go check out Small Town Society if you haven't already. They've got some incredible events with local artists, and if you're a local artist yourself, you'll definitely want to get involved. Coming up next, we're going to be taking a look back at the history of Castro Valley through sound. So you won't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Attention, Castro Valley. Do you love storytelling? Are you passionate about our community? The Castro Valley Compass is a local podcast that shines a light on everything Castro Valley, from neighborhood news to stories that matter to you. And we need your help. If you've ever wanted to contribute as a writer, audio recorder, or even produce your own news packages, this is your chance to get involved. Whether you're an experienced journalist or just curious to learn, we welcome all levels of talent. Join us for an exciting meeting on Saturday, October 12th at 10 a.m. at the Castro Valley School of Music, located at 21060 Redwood Road, Suite 100. This is the perfect opportunity to make your voice heard and be part of a podcast that's all about Castro Valley. We'll see you there on October 12th at 10 a.m. at the Castro Valley School of Music.
Welcome to this special program on the history of Castro Valley, California. Nestled in the heart of Alameda County, Castro Valley is a unique blend of suburban charm and rich history. We'll explore the story of this vibrant community, from its early beginnings to the bustling town it is today. Let's go back over 200 years before this valley had a name, to the time when it was home to the Ohlone people. The Ohlone, native to this region, lived off the land, hunting and gathering, creating a sustainable life in harmony with nature. Their presence is still felt today, with archaeological sites scattered across the Bay Area, reminders of their deep connection to this land. By the late 18th century, European explorers and Spanish missionaries arrived in California. In 1797, Mission San Jose was established, bringing a new era of European influence. It was during this period that Castro Valley would begin to take shape. Fast forward to 1840, when a Spanish soldier by the name of Don Guillermo Castro received a land grant of 28,000 acres from the Mexican government. This land, Rancho San Lorenzo, encompassed what we now know as Castro Valley, as well as parts of San Lorenzo and Hayward. Don Guillermo Castro, for whom the valley is named, was a prominent figure running cattle and sheep ranches across his vast estate. Unfortunately for Castro, financial trouble forced him to sell much of his land. By the mid-1800s, large sections were purchased by settlers from the United States and other countries, and Castro Valley slowly began transitioning from vast open ranches to a more structured community. One of the pivotal moments in the valley's development came during the gold rush. Although Castro Valley wasn't a mining town, the gold rush brought a population boom to California. More and more settlers moved west, seeking land, opportunity, and a fresh start. Many of them found it here, in the lush, fertile lands of Castro Valley. As we move into the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Castro Valley evolved into a rural farming community. The temperate climate and rich soil were ideal for agriculture, and by the early 1900s, Castro Valley became known for its chicken ranches. In fact, for many years, Castro Valley was one of the largest poultry producers in the state. It wasn't unusual to see rolling hills dotted with chicken coops, and the clucking of hens was a familiar sound. But Castro Valley wasn't just about poultry. Flower nurseries and orchards also thrived, contributing to the area's agricultural success. It was a place where hard work and community values were woven into the very fabric of daily life. The post-World War II era brought dramatic changes to Castro Valley. With soldiers returning home and a growing demand for housing, the valley began to shift from agriculture to suburban development. Farmland was sold off, and housing tracts sprang up seemingly overnight. By the 1950s, Castro Valley had transformed from a rural community to a suburban town, complete with schools, churches, and shopping centers. During this time, Castro Valley remained an unincorporated area of Alameda County, meaning it didn't have its own city government. While this status remains today, Castro Valley has developed a strong sense of identity. Its residents cherish their town's semi-rural atmosphere, while also embracing the convenience of modern suburban life. Castro Valley's history is not only about agriculture and suburban growth, but also about its commitment to community. Institutions like the Castro Valley Library and the iconic Chabot Theater became beloved landmarks. Local traditions like the Castro Valley Fall Festival and the Castro Valley Car Show keep that small-town spirit alive, even as the town has grown and modernized. Today, Castro Valley is home to over 65,000 people, a diverse and vibrant community that reflects the spirit of California itself. The rolling hills, which once supported cattle and chicken ranches, now host parks, hiking trails, and scenic vistas. Lake Chabot, once a reservoir, has become a recreational gem, offering fishing, boating, and miles of trails for outdoor enthusiasts. Castro Valley may have evolved, but it has never lost its connection to the land, its history, or its people. It remains a place where neighbors know each other, where traditions are celebrated, and where the past and the present coexist in harmony. As we look to the future, Castro Valley continues to thrive as a community that balances growth with preserving its heritage. Whether you're walking down the historic Castro Valley Boulevard or enjoying a day at Lake Chabot, you're standing on ground rich with stories. Stories of the Ohlone, of Don Guillermo Castro, of settlers and farmers, and of suburban pioneers. And those stories are still being written today. As new generations move in, one thing remains certain. Castro Valley's sense of place and history will continue to be cherished for years to come. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of Castro Valley. We hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into the past of a town that has shaped so many lives, and we look forward to seeing what the future holds for this wonderful community.
Looking to unlock your child's creativity? Or maybe you're an adult wanting to rekindle a love for music. At Castro Valley School of Music, we've got you covered. Studies show that learning an instrument boosts brain power, improves memory, and strengthens problem-solving skills. But the real magic happens when you play together. At Castro Valley School of Music, we offer lessons for all ages and skill levels, whether it's guitar, piano, violin, or something a little different. Our talented instructors will help you grow and have fun while doing it. And our group classes and ensembles, They teach teamwork, build friendships, and give students the joy of playing alongside others. It's where music becomes more than just notes. It becomes connection. Are you ready to start your musical journey? Call Castro Valley School of Music today at 510-397-0721 or visit us at cvsom.com. That number again is 510-397-0721 or you can visit us at cvsom.com. Let's make music together.
Attention, ghouls and goblins of Castro Valley. Are you ready for a frightfully fun time? Join us for an arts and crafts Halloween party on Friday, October 25th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Castro Valley School of Music. We'll be conjuring up spooky art and craft techniques, guided by your favorite art instructor. Perfect for all the little monsters and creative spirits. But that's not all. We've got games, Halloween karaoke, and a costume party that'll make you scream with delight. Dust off your broomsticks and don your most haunting costumes for an evening of eerie fun. This event is free and open to the public. No tricks, just treats. Come join us at 21060 Redwood Road, Suite 100 in Castro Valley. Mark your calendars, tell your friends, and get ready for a night of spooky creativity.
Well, that about wraps it up for this week for the Castro Valley Compass. Now, we do have a special event coming up this Saturday here at the Castro Valley School of Music where we're going to be meeting with people who would like to be involved in the creation of this podcast. We're looking for people who might want to write stories, record audio, produce news packages, work on graphics design or promotional material. If you've always wanted to get into the world of podcasting or audio production or promotions, then we'd like to have you at this meeting. It'll happen at 10 o'clock this Saturday on October 12th at the Castro Valley School of Music, located at 21060 Redwood Road, Suite number 100. If you'd like to get involved with the Castro Valley Compass, we'd love to see you there. So 10 o'clock this Saturday, October 12th, right here at the Castro Valley School of Music. Now, next week, we're going to be featuring more news roundups and community calendars, as well as a spotlight interview with a woman who has really made a huge difference here in Castro Valley through a program called Music for Minors 2. In fact, Carol Zilli is a big part of why this School of Music exists and how we have been able to move into this beautiful new location and keep things going here post-COVID. So hopefully you can join us next week where we sit down with Carol Zilli of Music for Minors 2, and we'll continue the conversation about how to navigate your week through Castro Valley right here on the Castro Valley Compass. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Castro Valley Compass, navigating your week through Castro Valley. Do you have an idea for the show, or would you like to get involved? We'd love to hear from you. You can send us an email at info@castrovalleycompass.com. That's info@castrovalleycompass.com. See you next time on the Castro Valley Compass, brought to you by the Castro Valley School of Music.